Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Bourbon. My name is Steve Akley. We've got a fun night tonight planned. We are going to be talking about Russell's Reserve Pick done by Mr. Jason Brauner, who's known for his great palate and much, much more. But before we kind of get into that, Jason, if you don't mind, because we do get new people all the time, there may be some folks here that don't know you or your story. So if you don't mind, let's start out by just telling us a little bit about yourself and Bourbons Bistro, your place of business.
Sure. Well, my name's Jason Brauner. We started Bourbons Bistro about, I guess it's coming on 16 years now, 2005. It's just been a kind of a crazy, wild trip over the past 15 years. I kind of feel that we were doing bourbon before it was cool, or before anybody knew it was cool. It's always been cool, but I think a lot of people just didn't realize how cool it was. And we were kind of one of the first people to put some culinary stuff behind it too. Here at Bourbons Bistro, I call it 4-star food and a 3.5-star joint. So anyhow, I would take questions about it. That's just kind of it in a nutshell, but it's been a long, strange trip, and this year especially, when we've had to shut down, and never really imagined what they could do to us, but we're still here, and hopefully we're going to be stronger on the other side of this thing too.
Yeah, that's what's important to note, that, of course, you're being part of this event and ultimately, buying, the bottle that helps Jason keep the lights on this place. He's done a great job. He's been put under some tremendous stress as a business, just a small business. And as you can imagine, things like being able to move for this event, we sold 36 tickets. Being able to sell 36 bottles in one hit is pretty good, and it certainly helps out with a lot of things. So thank you guys for being part of that and helping out a small business. It's also, I think, Jason's selling himself a little bit short there. Obviously, Bourbons Bistro, there's so much more to it than that. The first, bar to have bourbon in its name, the first true bourbon bar. I mean, there's been whiskey bars forever, but the first one to focus exclusively on bourbon. The fact that he was doing things like having, events, with master distillers, and you think, well, that's everybody does that. Well, not back when he started 15 years ago. So they weren't there. There was no such thing as let's have a bourbon dinner and a master distiller speak. But Jason started doing that, and he started doing whiskey flights. He was into wine, and started doing that too. So again, something that wasn't done at the time, very commonplace now. He also, because he liked bourbon and he liked the idea of getting something exclusive, he pushed distilleries to do barrel picks. Again, something very common now. All distilleries of any mid to large size have a barrel program. And but when he was doing this, not everybody was selling barrels. And you go to places like Four Roses, he was the first on-premise location to get a barrel. So he really was starting these programs. So he was pretty good with that. Also, he's got another venture too that he's not even talking about, but Buzzard's Roost, if you are going to Kentucky and things like that, he's got his own brand of whiskey out there, and I'm trying one of his. I found this special release, this kind of one-off that they did. It was a thing that they did with a brewery, and I wanted to get it when it came out. He wasn't able to get me a bottle. He didn't have enough bottles at the time. But Jason, I was at Westport Whiskey and Wine, and they had one of these left, so I grabbed it. So I'm gonna crack it open now.
Very good. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Steve's kind of helping me with the moving some of these barrels, and it's really cool to get to see where everybody's watching from and where everybody's drinking from, because usually it would be exclusive to people who are near the restaurant or coming through Kentucky or whatever at a certain time. So I think this is a real cool opportunity to get some of this whiskey that we talk about a lot out to different parts of the country. Like Steve was saying, I guess we were one of the first people at, on all of these distilleries that did their barrel picks. And I guess I've done over probably 100 barrel picks just for Bourbons Bistro here. We've done 25 just in Four Roses alone. So like I said, it's been fun, and we've tasted a lot of great whiskey over the years, and met a lot of great people at the, all the guys at the bourbon, the barrel tastings, and we've even done some down there. Used to do them over at Buffalo Trace, probably before Fred was there. We did an Eagle Rare barrel. We've done, Buffalo Trace. You name it, we've probably had a single barrel of it here. So.
Yeah. One of the amazing things too, if you're really into bourbon, and everyone who's on this call is obviously really into bourbon. So I would encourage you to go to Bourbon's Bistro and have a meal. It's probably, it's going to be one of the best meals, if not the best meal you have when you're in Louisville, which is kind of a foodie town. So that's saying something. The food there is really good. Of course, the bar is famous and spectacular. You want to sit there, and you never know who you're going to be sitting next to. It's been amazing to me to sit there and had Bernie Lubbers walk in before, and Fred Minnick walking in before. I had Mark and Sherry Carter. I see them almost every time I'm there. I think they might take up residence there, basically. So from the old Carter brand, and saw a guy from media at Four Roses. Was there one time, and that ended up being the greatest thing for me ever. I'm sitting at the bar next to this guy, and I'm telling him what I do, and he put me on the Four Roses media list. And anytime they get a new release, they send me samples now. So you never know who you're going to meet at when you're at Bourbon's Bistro. So that's one of the cool things, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, you just mentioned Bernie. Connor O'Driscoll comes in quite a bit. He lives in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And am I coming through okay?
Yeah, we were froze up for a second there, but you're back. You're good.
Okay.
Even
hey, Steve, if I can interrupt here real quick, I don't want you selling yourself short, man. That whole list is probably sitting there thinking, I was sitting at the bar and Steve Akley walked in. Come on now.
I'm sure that people get very excited when I come walking in there. So it does feel like home. That's one of the cool things too. He's got two great bartenders there. So he's got Mike and Emma, and that's the great thing about going there. They're great bartenders, so they can talk about anything. So that's one of the things that amazes me too. No matter what topic you want to, you can talk about bourbon, but you can talk about anything. You would think, Mike, when you know him, because he's all bourbon all the time, but I hear him talking about all Dancing with the Stars, you name it, whatever someone brings up, it seems like he knows about everything. So but they remember what you drink. I go in there every time. I usually like, because I've got a pretty expansive collection myself. Unless there's something I don't have, I'm usually interested in buying something, a value pick. So I usually get like Wild Turkey 101 Rye, and Mike just pours me a glass when I walk in there. So that's really always a good feeling too. That one of those places that makes you feel like home, because they've got real professional people that really are great at what they do. So that's a hats off to you, Jason, for finding the right people, training them, and retaining them. I know to keep good people like that is not necessarily always an easy thing. So
yeah, it can be difficult. We've had our fair share of employment problems for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
16 years we've been here, 15 years and change. But we love our staff. I think we've got a great staff, and just really can't thank them enough for what they do for us.
Yeah. So where are you guys at now with COVID restrictions in Kentucky? Because there's probably some folks here from the area, but a lot of us aren't. And if we are visiting, what do we need to know?
We're still at 50% capacity,
Mhm.
which is, I don't know who makes up the rules, but
right.
I guess 50% is going to have to work for now, but we're at 50% until we're told otherwise, and you're not supposed to sit at the bar. So what we've done is we've taken some high top tables and put them pretty close to the bar.
Uh-huh.
So kind of try to get around that little law. But we've got high tops pushed up to the bar, and you've got a couple of seats there. And it's just really, we've just had to do so much stuff differently. It's just a different way of operating, and it's definitely has its own set of challenges. So
yeah, you got a nice outdoor area. It's got a fireplace in that, and it's on like a porch, but you do have the ability to put glass in there. You've bought things that allow you to close that off. So I assume you've been using that a little bit more too this year than you probably have in the past.
Yeah, because they at one point they said no indoor dining whatsoever. So we could do outdoor dining. And so we do have a kind of a covered patio that we kind of weather it in a little bit. We've got the fireplace and the heater back there, so it doesn't get warm, but it definitely knocks off the cold for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you ever go, I mean, Jason, of course, he's a family guy, so he's got a couple kids. He's usually, involved with them at dinner time, and usually, I don't know if puts them to bed, helps them with homework. I don't know what to do there, but usually you're at the bar by about 8 o'clock or so, and then you're there till close. So if you want to see Jason, he's accessible. He's there every night, I assume. So it would be pretty rare for you not to be there unless you're out of town or something.
Yeah, unless I'm out of town, but if I'm usually here at some point during the evening, if not just for a little bit. So
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
absolutely, absolutely. So, and what other kind of things have been going on? What kind of plans do you do? What have you been up to during this past year when you couldn't really do a whole hell of a lot?
well, actually, I just got over COVID, so
Hmm.
and I thought I was using all the mask and everything, washing my hands and hand sanitizer and everything, but it caught up to me, and I just got out of quarantine. I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
So, but I didn't really have any symptoms, and it's weird how contagious that must be, because I have no clue of where I could have got. I
Right.
mean, I haven't a clue. But I dealt with it pretty well. I didn't really feel sick. I didn't lose thank God I didn't lose my taste buds or my smell. So that was, especially with me starting this new whiskey label, because I'm kind of intricate part of tasting and blending whiskey. So
Yeah.
I was kind of really concerned about that.
Yeah. So tell us about that and what you have going on with Buzzard's Roost, the brand that you've got.
Yeah, well, we've been working on this brand for over 3 years now, and we came out last July, so that was July of 19 when we hit the market, and we're just in Kentucky, but we've taken in a bunch of investment as far as this year goes. We took in quite a bit of money this January, and what that's going to do is we're going to up our sales and distributorship. We're going to be in, I think, 5 states by the end of the year. We're
Yeah.
going to be in 5 new states. So we're growing. We got some cool stuff we're doing. We just did a toasted barrel that just is going gangbusters. Great product. And we've got some pretty neat stuff we're going to be working on this spring too. A couple of cool new releases. So
Yeah. I know one of your best buddies, and because he's at Bourbon's Bistro every Friday night. So again, you want to see a bourbon celebrity, Andrew Webrink of Independent Stave Company, the barrel company. He's in charge of research for that company. You guys have a personal friendship, but now you're also business partners because you're working with Independent Stave. You partnered with them, and he, of course, leads the research. So you have this personal connection that allows you to get into the business. You know that he's really doing his best for you because you guys are personal buddies, and it's been really cool to I'm sure have your two companies work together as you representing Buzzard's Roost, him Independent Stave, and you guys getting collaborative and coming up with these great ideas for Buzzard's Roost.
yeah, it's really cool. So now that we're personal friends, I mean, any kind of new experiments that he's doing, I get the whiff of them, so I get to hear about. And that's pretty cool. I guess I can talk about what we're going to do next.
Sure. It's just us. It's just friends.
We've got so we started our small batch as kind of the just kind of our flagship small batch. We've got a single barrel, we've got the barrel strength, and now we've got the toasted barrel. Toasted barrel is just going to be, we'll probably just bring that out in the fall. We won't be doing that in the spring. So once this lot runs out, we'll wait till probably August or September to bring out the next toasted barrel. So the next thing we're talking about doing is we're going to do a tobacco smoked rye, and that's where we're going to take the barrels and we're going to smoke the barrels with tobacco, and we're also going to do a peat smoked rye. So we're going to take some peat and smoke our barrels and then age the whiskey in those barrels. So we're going to do a peat smoked and a tobacco smoked rye. We're still doing some experimenting on that and really haven't come to, a final product yet, but we hope we're going to get there, and it should be out this spring. So you kind of look forward to those. There's really, I'm really intrigued by both of those, even though I never was a rye fan and I'm not a Scotch fan. But if we can turn this into something, I always call Buzzard's Roost a bourbon drinker's rye. We're also going to get into some bourbon as well. We're going to do, finally, we're going to do a bourbon. It's going to be sourced probably from MGP, but we are going to do a bourbon as well.
Okay. Yeah. So to Bob's question, it's thus far it's been exclusively rye, but looks like he's gonna enter the bourbon world here, which should be interesting, because that's what you know best. I can't wait to see that. I know that Webrink has been involved in developing the smoked barrel idea. I just was at a distillery yesterday. They invited McNew and I to come out. It's in Indiana. I was in Kentucky on my way home, so I just did a little diversion up into Indiana. Went to Hard Truth Distillery. And the guy there, Brian Smith, is their distiller, and he had worked with Webrink on the smoked barrel thing for his company, and so he's been just talking about how great it is. I got to try some whiskey that's gone through that process, Jason. It's really good. It's a nice under flavor. It's there, but it's not overpowering like you get with a very heavily peated Scotch or something like that. So I didn't try a peated one, but I just tried a smoked with his company, but it's kind of a hickory smoke. It was really, really good. So yeah, it sounds pretty exciting. And I like the idea of the tobacco one too. Obviously that ties.
I think that tobacco really, it's going to lend itself to being more of a bourbony kind of, flavors in it, I hope. So
yeah.
Like I said, we're looking for that real light hint of adding the smoke or the peat or the tobacco. So hopefully, like I said, our experiments will turn out the way I want them to. So
yeah, that sounds good. And will you ever? And I'm not saying you're going to own a distillery, and you may do that. I know that's kind of in the plans if that comes together. If it doesn't, would you do contract distilling where you work in someone else's kitchen, if you will, and distill some things on your own, or will you continue if the distillery thing doesn't come through to just source exclusively?
Well, we're definitely always going to source our rye, even if of course I'd love to have my own distillery, but like I said, I realized that somebody wasn't going to give me $30 million.
Hey, if I would have hit that lottery,
is we're going to contract some new make. Right now, we're probably going to do it with Kentucky Artisan Distillery. That's where we have all of our stuff now. We do all of our rebarreling there and all of our aging, bottling. Everything's done at Kentucky Artisan now, and so. But we're going to contract with those guys because Jade out there is making some pretty good new make, and I've had a couple different new makes that he's had. So I think at the end of this year, not the beginning, but the end of this year, probably in the fall, we're going to go ahead and lay some of our own bourbon down.
That's cool. It looks like you got a fan, and Patrick that's on here. He likes your stuff. And then Tim said, would you consider doing a barrel-aged Bourbon Bistro cigar? Was that?
We are actually talking to, the name escapes me right now. We're talking with a cigar company.
Is it that one that's like in Lawrenceburg?
Wild
Turkey?
I forget the name of it. I forget the name of the company. It'll come to me.
Okay.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
This is Barry. We're working with Justin's House of Bourbon to do some finished tobacco in a couple of our barrels. So I'm not sure if you're talking with someone local to Kentucky or not.
I'm not heading up that whole project, that whole side project. I think Andrew's kind of getting into that. And if you said the cigar company, I would know, but I don't know. But he's got some talks going on with those guys, and we will be doing some type of collaboration with them and Buzzard's Roost. So I just don't know. I can't think of the company name.
Get those out. Let's do a cigar event. We'll do it where outdoor this summer. Outdoor. That'd be cool. That would be good. So obviously we're here today to talk about Russell's Reserve and that pick. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you do that? Did you get to go to the distillery? What did you do it before all this stuff? Did you do it after? You have to use a kit. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I've been to the distillery several times and went through barrels with Eddie. This time, I guess because of the COVID, they had it all shut down. I actually tasted these samples over the summer, and they were supposed to get me the bottle by November. Well, it didn't come in until after Christmas, which, Christmas obviously is a great time for us to sell bottles, but so I actually just got it in last week. So I don't know what the holdup was, but it's a great pick. See where it. Anyhow, all their single barrels are 110 proof. So I call that bottle proof instead of barrel proof. I call it bottle proof. So it's 110, and it's really, this one for a Russell's, to me, it's just really, really balanced. Like there's nothing that really stands out that wants to stand out, but it's just from front to back. It's got a great palate. It's really drinkable, especially on ice, because I think I drank about a half a bottle last night. But it's an easy drinker, and it is just, it's really something special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. So, and in the past, you've done them with Eddie, you said. So tell us a little bit about that process. Obviously, we're in different times right now, but I think everybody's interested to hear what a barrel pick with Eddie Russell's like. I've never got to do that myself. So what's that like?
No, you talk about a good time. Eddie's just good people anyway, but we'll go into the warehouse. I forget which one it is. It's usually the same warehouse that he does the single barrel program in, and he'll have barrels just laying everywhere. And he's got this binder, and he can tell you all about it. But usually he'll have about 5 or 6 barrels picked out. And at least to me, the 2 or 3 times that I've been there with him, he's like, if you don't like any of them, we can walk around. We'll pick this barrel. We'll pick that barrel. I think one day it was about 8 to 10 barrels, and I figured he was getting tired of me. So, and I think I was getting a little bit of a buzz too. But Eddie's so laid back, and it's a real cool experience if you ever get to do it. And I guess they'll bring it back. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hate to just taste from kids from now on,
Right. So, and you've been doing this long enough. Was Jimmy around when you ever did any of those? I assume now at 86, 87, whatever he is, he's not coming out into the barrel house, even in non-COVID times. But back in the day, was he ever around when you're making any of those picks?
It's always been Eddie. Eddie's always headed up that program.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've seen, Jimmy at all kinds of different spots. He's usually hanging out at the gift shop there, sitting by the front door, or we've had him here for several bourbon dinners. Just the tops of the tops. Jimmy's the greatest. We were at Bourbon Fest one year, and I always try to introduce myself, but I didn't this time. I guess I think we know each other, and his wife was with him, Jaretta. And I walked up, I said, "Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?" And he looked at Jaretta. He's like, "Who's this? Who's this?" And I was like, "Jimmy, it's Jason." And then he starts laughing, like cracking up, because he got me. He said, "I know who you are." So, it was just a funny guy, great sense of humor. And he really caught me off guard. I was like, "Oh, no, Eddie's Jimmy's getting old." And he's like, "I know who you are." Oh man, it was fun.
I talked to him a couple of years ago now, about 2 years ago, for the Bourbon Show. and up in his office, which was amazing, by the way. And but we talked about you. He knew. I mean, he told stories about you and going to your place and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he knows who you are. So yeah, that's funny. He was giving you a hard time about that. But so when you taste this one, tell us a little bit, about the taste, the finish. Is it those type of the things that you want to know that we can expect when we get this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a Russell's fan. I mean, I love Russell's. I mean, I wish I could get a barrel of a rare breed because I'm a huge rare breed fan. But this really does it for me at 110 proof. Like I said, it's real nice up front, real sweet. This to me comes off very, very sweet. Real, just nice sweet on the front. It's kind of working its way to the middle. Not really anything harsh on the back at all. Even at 110 proof, it kind of washes over your palate and just a nice, easy finish. I mean, it's beautiful. A lot of vanilla in it. A little bit of tobacco. Some butterscotch as well. I mean, we've got real buttery kind of on the nose. I don't know if you guys have seen my Old Crow.
Oh, that's cool.
Here.
Oh, I like that.
I was digging through some crap in the basement and I found that. And I was like, that's going to be my glass from now on. I'm a big fan of Old Crow. So, yeah. I just was hanging out with Freddie No, and he says one of his pet projects is to bring Old Crow back. So I'm excited for whatever that means. I don't care what it is, to put some sort of effort into that brand and make it cool again. I'm all for it. So yeah, that was cool. So I actually got to go to his house this past week. So hang out on the compound. Have you ever been there, Jason? You ever get to go to the Beams house? Oh yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
all that history going to the smokehouse. But we got to go into Booker's Smokehouse. There's some hams hanging up. I mean, I wanted to grab one of those and run with it, but
yeah, it's really cool. It was man cave and all that. It's nice.
Yeah, I've tried.
Been there for a couple barbecues several different times.
I've tried Little Book 5 already. It's fantastic, folks. So so just really a neat opportunity. But one time, tell the story. Wasn't there a blind tasting of Beam products and you went up against Fredno, Freddie's father, and how'd that turn out?
It was pretty wild. Beam was having an event if anybody's been in Lexington, familiar with the castle there, I guess they've turned it into a hotel and what have you, but as an event space, Beam was having this big to-do there. And at that time, Beam only had, I think they had 11 products that was under the Beam label, and you could only smell. So they were numbered, but you had to pick just by smelling them. You couldn't taste them. And I got 7 out of 11, and Fred No got 5 out of 11. So I did win a trophy for that.
Why would Fred No even try that? You don't want to lose that when it's your brand, and you're the guy, you're the master distiller. Oh, so, that's classic.
I continued to give him grief for that one. That was a good time. I mean, it's pretty tough if you think about, Beam Black and you're trying to Beam White. And all you've got to do is sniff them, you can get to nose them, and that was it.
That's it. Yeah, that is tough.
I thought I did pretty well getting 7 out of 11. So
yeah. So did Fred. I guess he thought you did pretty well too. He couldn't have been happy with that result.
They gave me I got a little trophy or something around here somewhere, a little barrel. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So obviously this pick is in the books. We've got this. Everyone on the call that's seeing this is going to be getting one of those. What do you got lined up next? You're always working on barrel picks, and I know it's a process. It takes some time, but what do you got in the works, man?
Well, I think next we're working on Four Roses, Knob Creek. I'll probably do another Elijah Craig over the summer, and we've never done one before, but I'm in talks with Drew at
really?
Willett. We may do a Willett.
That would be unbelievable. They're tough to work with. So just to pin down and get something. So if you can make that happen, that'd be unbelievable, man.
Yeah. At the end of the year, I guess at the end of the year, I played golf with Drew, and we talked about it, and he said, "Yeah, man, I'll sell you a barrel," but trying to get a hold of him is like,
Right.
it hasn't been easy, put it that way. So I'm going to try to nail him down, and we'll probably do it after Derby. I'm going to wait till, this COVID thing kind of lays down a little bit. We're going to just kind of hang out till Derby. I'll probably do, like I said, Knob Creek, hopefully before either Knob Creek or Four Roses before Derby.
So
should be out around then. Yeah.
That's cool. So you got a Four Roses lined up. So that's good. That's always a popular one for sure. So we like to partner up with you on those events when you do them. So if you've got if you can allocate us some, we'd love to do an event for that.
Yeah, definitely. The last barrel I got from Four Roses, much to my chagrin, sold in 2 days.
Yeah, we were part of that. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, dang it, I didn't save any for me. It just like we sold every bottle of it. I think I've got one bottle left. And that was our 15th anniversary bottle.
Yeah. So if anybody signed up for that, we did an event around there. So yeah, that was supposed to be a really cool pick, really a lot of meaning behind it. And you're going to have a big party, and it was going to release it at the party. And of course we know none of that happened. So but you still were able to move through it. So that's the cool thing. And your most famous Four Roses pick is the Ghost pick. We can't do one of these events without telling that story. So tell us about the Ghost pick.
So the Ghost pick, that I picked, I guess that the week I went twice to go pick barrels. I went on a Tuesday, and then I was going on a Friday to pick 2 different barrels, obviously. So, going through the pick, I think, we were picking anywhere between 8 to 10 barrels. Like a lot of times they would put every recipe out, but sometimes every recipe wasn't ready. So I think there was like eight barrels at this time. It came down to between 2. I picked one, and then I had Mandy. I said, take this barrel and put it in on Friday. And because it's so close, I really want that barrel, but I didn't get it. So I put it in. We'll see what happens on Friday. So she put it in on Friday and didn't tell me which barrel it was. And I ended up picking a different barrel on Friday. Mm-hmm. So what happened was the barrels from Tuesday, the barrels we did pick from Tuesday and Friday were sister barrels. And they sat next to each other in the warehouse. And then the barrel that I didn't pick, she said, now, which one do you think it is? And I was stuck between 2 barrels. I said, it's either this one or this one. And I said, it's got to be this one. And so I picked blindly the barrel from Tuesday. And then the 2 she said I was fighting about, those were sister barrels. Mm-hmm. But the second, make a long story even longer, the Friday barrel I picked was the Ghost barrel because there was only 20 bottles of bourbon in it. I guess it had, we thought the Ghost had got it or had leaked out or something, but whether the oxygen in the barrel or something did it, it was a phenomenal pick. And she wouldn't let me buy another one because that one only had 20 bottles in it. She said, no, you can't have another one. I said, well, I can't leave this one here. So that's the
killer thing. You think, okay, all right, go, Jason, pick another one. And then we'll just, you obviously you have to pay for those 20 bottles, but you wouldn't think that would count against your barrel allocation that you're allowed to buy, being that it was only 20 bottles.
Yeah.
But it did count though, didn't it?
Yeah. It did count. So she's like, you're done. Damn.
And you do keep one of each bottle. You've got kind of a library. At one point, is there going to be some event or something like that you're like, I'm going to finally crack into these that I've been saving this library of my picks over the years?
I don't know. Maybe I've never really even thought about it. I guess my kids will get it somehow, or I'll get old and grumpy and retire, or maybe just start drinking them.
Yeah, well, that
I
doesn't
don't
sound
know.
bad. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing with this bourbon hobby we've got. And it's, you got the bourbon to fall back on. So even if you're a collector and you're like, I can't afford to keep buying, well, then just drink what you got. So uh, that's cool. All right, I want to throw this open now for questions for Jason. Obviously, you can ask about the pick, you can ask about his restaurant, his brand, or whatever you like. If there's people in the bourbon business you want to ask him about, he knows everybody. So feel free to ask anything.
I'd love to kick it off, Steve, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead, Ryan.
Jason, kudos to you, but I've had a couple delicious dinners at your place there, so nice work. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice foray into the whiskey and bourbon world. Smart.
Thank you. We're it's an exciting time, and the end game is to have my own bourbon on the shelf. It just would be, that's my ultimate dream. And so moving forward, we're real excited about it. The new states, I'm not really sure. Kind of the president of the company's handling all that. It's a lot of paperwork. I know we're going to Chicago, St. Louis, and I think somewhere up in New York.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
you,
that's
tell us a
cool.
little
We can
bit of
go
history on
south
the
of the
name?
border and get it in Illinois. That's fine. Thanks very much.
Jason, can you tell us a little bit about the name, the Buzzard's Roost?
Well, like I said, at first we tried to get a distillery funded. I mean, maybe we had some bad advice, but it really didn't seem like it was that big of a deal to raise $30 million. What we did is we found a property. We gave them a $10,000 deposit to hold the property. We had it surveyed. We got tax credits. We did all of this stuff on this beautiful, beautiful property out in Wadi, Paytona. It was over 100 acres, plenty of room for rick houses and all that. And we did actually have a investor who ended up, instead of going with buying our product, with funding us, he went and bought Liquor Barn. So,
Jonathan
half
Blue?
a Liquor Barn. So
Jonathan Blue?
at the end, he kind of pulled out on us, but no, it's his partner.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is a Vince Rosenblatt that was bordering the farm that was called Buzzard's Roost Road. And I said, we've got to name at least one of our products Buzzard's Roost,
And you went for kind of an old style look to it. So yeah, because you one of the things about Jason, and here's the cool thing about Jason. If you get to really know him, up in his office at Bourbons Bistro, he has his personal bourbon collection. So he's got some really old stuff. He's a fan of drinking old whiskey. So you always want to try to work your way up into that office if you can. Somehow, some way, be nice to him and get the invite. So
I'm kind of I'm a traditionalist. I really wasn't a big fan of finishing whiskeys, in charged barrels or port barrels or whatever. But I didn't want to revive an old label, but I wanted it to sound old, if that makes sense. Like, I just wanted it to sound like an older brand. And especially with the innovation that we're doing, it's just got, I think on the bottle it says tradition within the bounds of innovation. So, we try to be traditional in what we do. And that was kind of going into that brand too. Like I said, I wanted it to kind of sound like an old brand that had been revived.
Mm-hmm. And the area that we're talking, wasn't it near Jeptha Creed, kind of off of Highway 64?
Yeah, it's at the other end of the county from Jeptha Creed.
Gotcha. So, yeah. And I know you're good friends with Jim Rutledge, who's been doing the same thing. And you guys, I know, compared business plans at one point, very similar in size and scope, what you guys were both planning. And he's continuing to search to try to get a distillery. So hopefully, I don't know if it'll happen.
I talked to him.
Hopefully it does. Yeah.
His birthday was, I guess, in December or whatever, but I had sent him a text wishing him a happy birthday, and he sent me a great text back. He said they're getting close to getting funded or something was about to happen. He said in February. And hopefully he's still, from his text, he said that, I'm still going to be his number 2. So if he gets behind the still again, hopefully I'll have a job, and I'm going to put Buzzard's Roost on hold for a little bit. I mean, I'll still do appearances and I'll do all the work there, but if I can go work next to Jim on a still, that would be the ultimate goal. And he said he could teach me everything he knows in about 2 months. So I'm like,
I don't know about that. He's pretty modest guy, but yeah. I will say this. I mean, if Jim Rutledge announces he's getting that distillery going, who wants to drink some new whiskey from Jim Rutledge? Four Roses is great. I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's got the audience out there. So that's why I want this to happen for him. The fans want it. So just finding that right investor, and it's easy for me to say, I don't have, $30 million, but there's people out there that do. And if I did, that would be something I'd want to invest in.
Yeah. I mean, he honestly, I think he's made some of the best whiskey on the planet.
Yeah.
So to be able to, if I could, like I said, snuggle up next to him and learn anything, that would be the ultimate for me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What else do you guys want to ask Mr. Brauner? Got some other distillers here too, so you can certainly ask Ryan anything you like.
Jason, I had a question for you. So I'm curious, what with COVID and the shutdowns or anything, were there any bright spots to you, like for business wise? Did you get any clarity or any ideas out of that?
Well, I mean, we definitely had to do things different as far as, it just being in this business, you've always got to adjust to things that come down the pipe. I mean, there was a recession, and over the last 15 years, we've kind of been dealt some pretty big blows, and it's a roller coaster ride, definitely. But, we kind of, what we did is we looked at the menu. We made it a little bit more to-go friendly. Like, when you come here, it's definitely not to-go food. You want to eat, you're going to eat a $40 steak. You want to eat it in the restaurant, not out of a tin, in your car or something. So we definitely had to adjust. We adjusted the menu and put some, some less expensive items on the menu. So, we definitely had to adjust to, keep the lights on. And I mean, I've definitely learned from that to where nothing is a given anymore. And, you just always have to, you got to be on your toes. You figure being in business for 15 years, kind of runs itself. We've got this, but then something like that happens and it changes your whole world. So, like I said, on the other side of this, we were in the best position for that to happen. We carry we had very little debt at that time. And so we were in a good position to do that. And, moving forward, we're definitely stronger on the other side. Unfortunately, a lot of restaurants have closed. But, we're still here. So our weekends are picking back up. The weekdays are a little slow, and our events are starting to pick back up. So I think we're definitely going to be stronger on the other side of this because, the lack of somewhat of the competition out there and just the learning curve that we've done to try to keep the doors open.
Yeah. Really had to go into survival mode. And you mentioned the no debt thing, and that was just an offshoot of the fact that, you're 15 years into this thing and you're finding the point where you're going to be paying this thing off. And right at the same time where you're going to be paying it off, you have to go back into debt. That had to be tough. But at the same time, it's a blessing that you had that ability. You weren't sitting already, saddled with a bunch of debt that you had to add to it. But it does have to be tough to go back when you think you're going to be finally free and clear of this, to go back into debt once again.
Yeah, we ended up getting, we've applied for some of the PPP stuff and we've gotten that, thank goodness. But we did get an EIDL loan, which is a low interest loan from the government. And to look at sign the paperwork on that, it's like a 30-year loan. And it's like, okay, I just signed my life away till I'm 80. And you really, I mean, you're like, what am I doing? You know? But hopefully we'll be able to pay the lion's share of that note back. And we really just got that idle loan for comfort, you know, a little bit of padding and dip into it. So we've had to dip into it a little bit, but we're starting to pay it back. And hopefully by Derby, we'll have it, you know, hopefully we can pay it all back. You know, I definitely don't want to be in debt till I'm 80 years old.
No, that's for sure. What else?
Hey, Jason, what was your career before getting into Bourbon Bistro?
Well, I started my first restaurant when I was 21. I started a pizza joint. I was at U of L and kind of got bored with that. Was at UPS and decided, the hell with all of it. I'm gonna start my own restaurant. And like I said, we had a hard time getting a beer license because I was 21. They didn't want to give me a beer license. But, you know, just kind of worked my way up through there. I've done a lot of cooking, done a lot of catering. Even when I had the pizza joint, I did some cooking under some different people. But other than that, I'm mainly just a restaurant guy, but I'm also a welder. So I've kind of welded throughout the years to supplement my income. And even worked at Vendome, where they make all the stills with Mike Sherman and those guys down there. I worked at Vendome for like 2 years, even when I had bourbons, because I was really into just seeing the stills and working on the tanks and things. I mean, those guys are real artists, and I really enjoyed my time working there. Hard work. I mean, really hard work. The money's not bad. And I learned a lot just from working down there. It was really cool.
Yeah.
What years were you at Vendome?
God, I don't even remember. I'm trying to maybe see. Then I quit there to open the sidebar. I don't know when the sidebar opened because I consulted on that whole deal. So I would say around 2008, 9, maybe.
Well, we have a hybrid pot column still from Vendome, but I think it was made in 2011. I was wondering if maybe you had a part in that, but maybe that's a couple years after
if Brauner did anything on there. Yeah. No.
No, I know that there was one tank down at Four Roses that I remember. I built basically the whole thing specifically. And
cool.
I would always tell Jim, you know, whoever was down there, Jim would be down there. And he's like, yeah, that damn tank over there leaks, or, you know. But yeah, you know, it's really extremely hard work. I mean, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. I mean, those guys are really artists. When you take a sheet of copper and put it over a metal bell and you just torch it, you know, you got a torch in one hand and a hammer in the other hand, and you hammer one of those, onions out, half of it at a time. It's just unbelievable.
No doubt.
Yeah. And you got to make it there sometime and hang out with Jason and I. We like to play cards, and you never know who's going to be playing there. It might be Mike Sherman, from Vendome, and the distillery owners. Royce Neely play. He's a regular. Trey Zoller's supposed to play. Freddie No says he's playing the next time we get together. So, it's a who's who of the world of bourbon, and sometimes there's even political people there too. You had that one guy that came in that one time. So. We had movie makers there. There's all kinds of. We get a game of 10 people, and 8 of them are all people that you've heard of before. So it's pretty crazy. So
good time.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? Cool. Wow. I thank you guys for coming on and being part of this. Again, we'll send out those bottles. It should take about a week, but in about a week, to receive them in about a week, they'll be sent. So imagine a week, a couple days after that. Jason does have the, what are you showing us there?
That's the bottle there.
That's the bottle. Yeah. So those will be headed your way. And again, if you get nervous, you're thinking this is taking way too long, just reach out to me and I'll get with Jason and we'll get you a tracking number and find out where that thing's at. So with that, I'm going to stop the recorder. And Jason and I'll stick around. If you have any casual questions you want to ask us off the air, we'll do that right now. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Justine.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Jason.
Hi.
Thank you.